Most men walk away from a hug without a single thought about what just happened. It comes and goes, a brief moment of physical contact that feels routine, unremarkable, easy to forget. But that moment, as ordinary as it seems, is actually one of the most honest exchanges that can happen between two people. Because in those few seconds of closeness, her body is communicating something her words never will. Her comfort, her level of connection, her interest, and sometimes even her attraction, all of it surfaces in that brief window of contact. The challenge is not that women hide these signals. The challenge is that most men have never been taught to recognize them. So they miss everything. They hug awkwardly, they retreat too fast, or they hesitate just long enough to make the moment feel strange. And in doing so, without even realizing it, they send back the wrong message. They project uncertainty. They signal discomfort. In some cases, they come across as uninterested, even when the opposite is true. This is where things begin to fall apart because attraction is not one-sided. It does not depend only on what she expresses, it also depends on how you receive it and reflect it back. When your response does not fit the moment, the connection quietly breaks before it ever had a chance to grow. What follows is a breakdown of 4 distinct types of hugs that women give and a clear explanation of what each one actually communicates beneath the surface. Not just the obvious interpretation, but what is genuinely happening on an emotional and physical level. You will learn how to tell the difference between a hug that is purely friendly, one that carries warmth and familiarity, and the kinds of hugs that point towards something deeper. And just as importantly, you will understand how to respond in a way that feels natural, confident, and aligned with the moment rather than forced or awkward. Once this clicks, the guesswork disappears. The overthinking stops, and you start picking up on things that most men never notice. Before getting into the different types, it is worth understanding why any of this matters in the first place. A hug looks simple from the outside, but it operates on a level that conversation cannot reach. The reason comes down to something fundamental about human behavior. People have considerable control over their words. They can choose what to say, how to frame it, what to reveal, and what to hold back. Language is a filtered channel, but the body does not work that way. Physical responses, especially the ones that happen in moments of close contact, are far more difficult to manufacture or conceal. That is what makes a hug so revealing. The duration, the placement of her arms, how much of her body she brings toward yours, whether she draws away the instant it starts or stays a moment longer than necessary, each of these details reflects genuine feeling. They are not calculated choices. They are honest reactions. Research into nonverbal communication consistently shows that emotional expression is carried more through physical behavior than through spoken words, especially in moments of close personal contact. That means while the conversation is happening on the surface, her body is already telling you something more accurate underneath. And yet most men focus entirely on what is being said. They wait for something direct and obvious, some clear verbal confirmation of interest. But attraction almost never arrives through clear verbal confirmation. It arrives through small physical signals that surface naturally when someone feels connected, comfortable, or genuinely drawn to another person. A hug strips away the usual buffer of conversation and proximity. It places two people in the same space with nothing between them, and in that space, her body responds based on how she actually feels, not on what she decided to say. That is why understanding this gives you a real advantage. You are no longer speculating. You are reading something authentic. And once you learn what to look for, you will notice patterns that were always there, waiting to be seen. Now that the foundation is clear, the next thing to examine is where most men go wrong in the moment itself, and it is not complicated. The core problem is simply not knowing how to respond. Some men approach a hug with tension in their body, stiff movements, and instinct to pull back quickly because they are uncertain how long to stay. Others go to the other extreme, holding too long without reading what the situation is actually asking for, which transforms a natural moment into an uncomfortable one. Both of these reactions come from the same root issue, which is a lack of awareness. When you do not understand what a hug is communicating, you have no reference point for how to match it. And when your response does not align with her energy, the interaction develops a subtle imbalance. This is something women tend to register clearly, even if they could not describe exactly what felt off. Because for her, the hug is not just a formality. It is a moment of genuine connection. And inside that moment, she is paying attention, whether consciously or not, to how you show up. Are you at ease? Are you grounded? Do you meet her where she is, or do you disrupt it? Your body answers those questions in real time. Pulling away too fast reads as anxiety or lack of confidence. Freezing or hesitating creates friction. Staying too long without reading the room feels intrusive. None of these responses move things forward. They stall them or push them backward. The other common mistake is trying to analyze the hug without any framework for what the different types actually mean. Without that understanding, men either overlook the signal entirely or interpret it in a way that is completely off base. That is exactly why this matters. Once you understand the meaning behind each type of hug, your response stops being something you have to think about. It becomes something you simply feel and match. And when you match it correctly, everything in the interaction flows with less effort and more authenticity. So here is the first type, and it is both the most common and the most misread. It is what can be called the friendly pat hug. This one typically runs 1 to 2 seconds. Her body tips slightly forward but does not fully commit. There is minimal full body contact, and somewhere in the middle of it, you will usually feel 1 or 2 light pats on your back before she steps away. The whole thing feels easy, polite, and brief. And because of that, most men immediately land on one conclusion. She is not interested. That conclusion is almost always wrong. A friendly pat hug does not signal rejection. What it signals is that in this moment, she feels comfortable and at ease around you. There is no tension. There is no pressure. The interaction feels safe and uncomplicated from her side. That is not a negative. In fact, it is a meaningful starting point because attraction rarely ignites from nowhere. More often, it grows from comfort. When a woman feels genuinely relaxed around someone, that relaxation creates a foundation, and foundations are what everything else gets built on. The mistake men make with this type of hug is reacting as though it closes the door. They pull back emotionally, they assume there is no potential, and scale down their investment in the interaction. That reaction does the opposite of what they intend because rather than building on the ease that already exists, it dissolves it. What the friendly pat hug is actually telling you is that she is open to your presence. There is room here. She is not guarded. But what happens in the space following that hug depends entirely on how you move through it. With that type of hug, the right move is not to escalate immediately. The goal is to deepen the connection that is already quietly forming. Many men either push too hard at this point, trying to manufacture attraction artificially, or they pull back and let the moment go flat. Neither approach takes things anywhere. The better path runs through the middle. You already have comfort on your side. What you are building toward now is engagement. This begins with how you carry yourself after the hug. Stay relaxed, stay grounded. Do not treat the hug like a coded message that needs to be solved. Let it be part of a natural flow and move forward from there. In the interaction that follows, make your eye contact a little more sustained than usual. Keep your tone calm, but bring a bit more energy into how you engage. Introduce some lightness into the conversation, not in a way that feels performative, but in a way that signals you are enjoying the exchange and not taking everything too seriously. Beyond tone and eye contact, presence matters enormously. When she speaks, give her your complete attention. Listen with genuine interest. Respond in a way that makes clear you are actually there, not just waiting for your next turn to talk. These small, consistent behaviors do more for attraction than any dramatic gesture ever could. The key is repetition. One good interaction does not transform a dynamic, but a series of them does. Each time she feels comfortable around you and finds the interaction genuinely engaging, the distance between friendly and something more begins to close. That is how a hug that started as polite eventually becomes something that carries real weight. The second type of hug is where a clear shift begins to appear. Call it the firm hug. Unlike the brief and light experience of the first type, this one carries a different quality. It lasts longer. There is more contact. It does not feel like a formality being completed. It feels deliberate and present. When it happens, the difference registers immediately. Her arms wrap around you with genuine pressure. There is no rush to step back. For a moment, she is actually there, not just going through emotion, but genuinely in that space with you. This kind of hug typically reflects a real sense of familiarity and comfort. She enjoys being around you. She feels settled in your presence. And that matters considerably because comfort is one of the most powerful preconditions for attraction. When a woman feels at ease with someone, she opens up more naturally. She stays present in the interaction rather than holding herself at a slight remove. Now here is where many men make a costly mistake. They do not recognize that the hug has shifted. They respond the same way they would have to a casual friendly hug, stepping back quickly, breaking the moment, moving on without absorbing what just happened. From her perspective, that response creates a small but noticeable gap. She leaned in and was not met. That does not erase connection, but it does mean the connection did not deepen the way it might have. It is also worth paying attention to whether this type of hug becomes a pattern. If it happens repeatedly across different encounters, it stops being a single moment and becomes a consistent signal. She is not only comfortable around you, she is actively choosing to stay in that closeness. That choice carries weight because attraction does not appear all at once. It accumulates through repeated moments like this one. When the hug feels firm and intentional, how you respond in that exact moment is what determines the direction of things. The most common error is the instinct to pull away before the hug has naturally completed itself. This usually happens not from disinterest, but from habit or uncertainty. The moment feels slightly more weighted than expected, and the reflex is to retreat before it becomes something you do not know how to hold. From your side, that feels normal. From her side, it reads as a disconnection because she stayed and you did not. The correction is simple and does not require anything dramatic. When you feel that the hug has more substance to it, more pressure, more duration, do not be the one to end it. Stay a beat longer than you ordinarily would, not in a way that feels stretched or forced, just naturally, calmly, without any stiffness or self-consciousness. That extra moment communicates a great deal. It shows that you are comfortable in closeness. It signals that you are not reacting from nervousness. And most importantly, it matches her energy rather than cutting across it. After stepping back, pay quiet attention to what follows. Does she smile? Does she keep eye contact for a moment longer? Does she stay physically close rather than immediately putting distance between you? These are small details, but they are meaningful ones. Through all of this, keep your body language open and your demeanor steady. Do not behave as though something significant just occurred in a way that changes the atmosphere. Keep the interaction moving in the same direction it was already heading, just with a slightly more grounded sense of presence. That consistency is what allows attraction to keep building. The moment does not need to be large. It just needs to be allowed to finish. The third type is where the signals become considerably harder to misread. This is the lingering hug. The distinction here is not only in how long it lasts, but in the quality of the experience while it is happening. With this hug, she does not move toward ending it. Her body stays close. Her arms remain in place. And there is a brief pause, a moment of stillness where neither of you immediately creates distance. That pause is not incidental. In the context of attraction, small pauses carry genuine meaning. When a woman lingers in a hug, what it typically reflects is that she is comfortable enough in that closeness that she feels no pull towards stepping away from it. Her body is not preparing to retreat. It is relaxing. And that relaxation is not a random default. It is a response to how she feels in that specific moment with that specific person. There are other physical details that accompany this. Her grip may soften slightly rather than tightening or releasing abruptly. Her posture feels easier, less controlled. There may be a subtle shift in her breathing or a quiet quality to the moment just before it ends. Individually, these are small things. Together, they form a pattern that points in one clear direction. She is not just tolerating the closeness. She is at ease within it. The mistake many men make here is one of nerves. They sense that the hug is running longer than they expected, and rather than holding steady, they pull back too soon. In doing so, they interrupt something that was unfolding naturally. She stayed, and they did not. That creates a small fracture in the connection. The response that serves the moment is the straightforward one. When the hug lingers, do not manufacture an ending for it. Stay relaxed. Let the moment exist without trying to manage or control it. Nothing needs to be added or escalated. The only thing required is presence. Because when you are genuinely comfortable in that silence, in that closeness, it communicates something she will notice directly. It signals confidence. Real, unforced confidence. And that quality is what allows things to move forward without pressure or performance. The fourth and final type of hug is the one that carries the clearest meaning of all. This is the intimate embrace. Everything about it is different from the other three. It is not brief, it is not casual, and it is not neutral. It feels close in a way that is complete and emotionally present. Her body does not lean in slightly. It comes all the way in. There is full contact, and rather than maintaining any habitual distance, she allows that closeness to happen without pulling back from it. Her head may come to rest on your shoulder or settle near your neck. Her arms wrap around you with real intention rather than out of habit, and instead of stepping away within a few seconds, she stays. In some cases, her hands may move slowly along your back, not in a restless or mechanical way, but gently and without hurry. None of that is accidental. This type of hug signals strong emotional comfort, and in many situations, it signals attraction because proximity matters to people. Human beings do not allow that level of physical closeness with just anyone. It happens when someone feels genuinely safe, genuinely connected, and genuinely at ease in a moment. And when someone not only allows that closeness but lingers in it past the point where habit would have ended it, that tells you something unmistakable. They are not just accepting it, they are choosing it. There is something else happening in this moment that most men do not fully register. She is watching how you respond. She is paying attention, probably without framing it consciously, to whether you stay calm or become awkward, whether you stay present or rush to create distance, whether your energy meets hers or whether it withdraws. Your response to that moment answers all of those questions instantly. If you remain relaxed, if you let the closeness exist without manufacturing an exit from it, you are communicating something important. You are showing that intimacy does not unsettle you. You are demonstrating emotional safety. And emotional safety is what allows attraction to move from the surface into something with real depth. There is nothing complicated required here. No strategy, no script, no performance. Just the willingness to stay present and let the moment be what it already is. By this point, the picture should be clear. Not simply what each type of hug looks like, but what it represents and why it matters. Because this was never really about physical gestures in isolation. It was about understanding how genuine attraction communicates itself through small, everyday moments that most people overlook. A hug may look like nothing from the outside, but it holds real information. The way she holds on, how long she remains, how much of herself she brings into the contact, all of it reflects her actual emotional state in that moment. Once that is understood, these moments stop feeling like background noise and start revealing themselves for what they actually are. But here is where many men still stumble. Even after understanding all of this, they begin to overanalyze. They fixate on individual moments, trying to extract certainty from a single exchange. They turn it into a question that has no clean answer in isolation. Does this mean something, or was it just a friendly gesture? And in that loop of analysis, they miss the larger and more important pattern. Because attraction does not live in isolated data points. It lives in consistent behavior over time. One signal might not mean much, but when the same signals show up repeatedly, when her behavior consistently reflects comfort, closeness, and engagement across multiple interactions, that is when the picture becomes unmistakable. And when it is unmistakable, nothing needs to be forced. Nothing needs to be manufactured or rushed. Your role in all of this is not to push things forward artificially. It is to stay present, to remain grounded, and to respond to what is actually happening rather than to what you are hoping or fearing might be happening. Attraction deepens in moments that feel effortless, not in moments that feel pressured. When a man can stay calm through these interactions, when he does not overcorrect or panic or read too deeply into every second, he creates a quality of energy that is rare and genuinely compelling. That is what changes the dynamic. So the next time you find yourself in one of these moments, pay attention. Notice how it feels. Notice what her body is communicating, and notice how you show up in response, because these quiet moments are where everything that matters actually begins. If this shifted the way you see attraction, share it with someone who could use a new perspective.